Be sure to subscribe to EAG's YouTube channel. These first look videos do provide that first mover advantage on some very special cars that are coming to market for the very first time. The YouTube channel is that medium that is now basically that first opportunity to take a sneak peek at something that maybe just arrived and is what you've been looking for a very, very long time, like that Le Mans Carmel with just 29,000 miles that's already going to a new home after a 2-second cameo, if you will. But E28 M5, super special car, repeat visitor, multi-time, is going to be one of the next videos that we showcase, as well as that Euro bumper E28 M5, and of course this now first-time visitor with only 41 miles, not very many opportunities to own it more than once on this M2 CS. It's the sister car to the EAG M2 CS, and these are pretty fantastic cars, and we are certainly looking forward to providing that next owner that second opportunity to buy new in basically brand new condition. So with that, let's move on to the show with this very personal and intimate look of this very, very special multi-repeat visitor EAG E28 Alpina B9 3.5. This is an awesome car and I love it. Eric Keller here, Enthusiast Auto Group. Today we're at EAG's HQ and we're with, well, quite a special enthusiast and an equally special E28. And Kent here is a local, definitely longtime BMW CCA member and longtime EAG friend, personal friend, and just all around great guy. Him and his wife Beth have enjoyed this Alpina that has a really cool story to tell, and I figured what better way to tell this most recent chapter of the car's life than to talk with the man that's been responsible for it for 5 years. So thanks, Kent, for agreeing to do this with me.
My pleasure. Yeah, I love the car. It's been a great part of my wife's and my life. As Eric indicates, we're repeat offenders at EAG, and that's not likely to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, well, so he's got a pretty cool little fleet of cars, and it was time to mix up the stable a bit for a special birthday, and we've got an E24 M6 we're going to go through and do the full rejuve program on a handshake deal from last week, and here we are swapping cars. He's got his M4 convertible here in fire orange that he's picking up after a service, and I'm going to walk you around the car, and basically Kent's going to lead the way and kind of tell us a story if you're up for it.
Absolutely.
So the backstory right before Kent, I guess I can maybe lead in with that, which might jog some memory cues for you. The car came to us in 2013, I believe, right? Was it 13, 12 or 13?
May have been.
I think it was, yeah. I remember we sold it to, let's see, good old Mr. Harold up in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
That's right. And he kind of uses the car the same way you did. Some rallies, did a couple drives with the club.
Yeah, club concourses and that sort of thing.
So 3 years later, Harold decides to shuffle up his deck. I think it was part of a 4-car deal, if I remember right. 2 coming in, 2 going out. And then, I don't think this car was here long. And
no.
I mean, I don't even think we'd
I don't know that it made the website.
Well, most stuff these days isn't, and we just can't keep up with the amount of interest, thankfully, to say. It's certainly a good problem to have. So I think it was summer of 16 that you guys took initial delivery.
Almost exactly 5 years ago.
And take the steering wheel from there.
We got the car, had a chance to drive it just a bit and get used to it before we had Eric and his group ship it out to California for Legends of the Autobahn during the Monterey Speed Weeks. And it was shown on a display basis. It went out in a truck full of interesting cars with some of your other friends from around here. And
it's kind of important to note that was the 100-year celebration for BMW.
It was, and also there were the people from Alpina, including Andreas Provenance, the son of the founder and currently the head guy there.
60s, beginning of the 70s, and Alpina was able to win once 1970 24 hours in Spa, and 3 times 71, 72 and 73 the 24 hours at the Nürburgring. And therefore, we gained a lot of repetition. We had very fast drivers like Niki Lauda.
And he was just all over this car. They brought two of their own, but he seemed to be as interested in mine as anything there. Particularly, he was interested in the extra gauges in the cockpit, because he says we don't see that very often.
And I think it was an Alpina reunion, was it not?
It was. Maybe the 101st or 51st or something.
Yes, and it's important to note this is number 436. This is a B9, the 3.5 naturally aspirated variant, and this is an air-conditioned car, which certainly is important these days, especially in the Midwest. I mean, this interior is just to die for. I mean, what's your favorite thing on the car before we get back to that story? I mean, I'm looking at mine.
I would say the upholstery is my favorite piece on the car as well. It's such a period thing. It really takes you back to the mid '80s, and I've always been a nut for Alpinas because they're obscure and because they really suit my my sensibilities.
And so Burkhardt's geeking out about the gauges. We're there on the lawn at the event, and there's, I think, one other thing, if I remember, that he was pretty interested to see that he hadn't seen a whole lot. And I remember taking this picture as we were sitting there on the lawn. That was a really exciting day, actually. And
he was what? Totally amazed that this original sticker was still there. He said, "You have no idea how much trouble we went to get one for the car that they were restoring for themselves." And he liked it well enough that he was happy to sign it. So it's an autographed car.
That never hurts, just from a long-term, just verification, validation standpoint. I mean, the car is just one of the more original survivors that we'll see. It's gone through our workshop now 2 official times prior to resale, completing the EAG Rejuve program, and now we'll go through to a 3rd round of Rejuve. Go ahead there, and he knows how to care for it properly.
So those rubber spoilers are pretty hard to come by, as I understand it.
And this one's in really, really good shape.
Absolutely.
And so you've even updated the tires per the sticker there in the trunk here recently as well. We were just talking about earlier.
Yeah, finally, Pirelli in their Collezione have remade the original P7s that were appropriate to this car and various same vintage Porsches. And I just couldn't resist putting the right tires on the car. And they've really been a pleasure to drive. They're, in most respects, they're a fully modern tire. They just have the original tread pattern and aspect ratio. But they ride better than modern tires on these 16-inch rims.
And these are 2018 date code, and I think we put these on in 19 thereabouts, didn't we?
That sounds about right.
So we're having fun in California, and then you've got the week there driving, and then where'd we go from there?
It was a great car to drive around Monterey, but we had you guys ship it to our home in Arizona because it was getting ready to be cold weather up here in Ohio and warm weather down there, so it seemed like a great time to have the car down for the winter. And lo and behold, Scuderia Southwest, which is a big organizer of club events for modern cars and vintage cars, had their, at that time, 9th annual Festival of Speed. And we thought, oh, great, the car's all cleaned up after a few hours from killing bugs. And so we drove it over there and put it on the lawn, and we were surrounded by high-tech exotica and some display pieces from Porsche, a 917 and a 910, if I remember correctly. So lots of stuff. Some
lots of heavy hitters.
Some old, including, we were parked next to a 52 Gullwing Mercedes.
Oh wow!
So we're really there just to soak up the atmosphere. But it was, towards the end of the day, it was getting hot, and we thought, well, we'll pack up, turn on the AC, and drive home for the cocktail hour. And one of the organizers comes running over and says, "Stop, stop, stop. Don't go." Said, "We haven't given out the prizes yet." And I'm thinking, okay, well, we won Best German, and that was a complete surprise and a total pleasure. But the guy that was judging it just couldn't stop talking about what a unicorn this car was. So,
and that's a pretty well attended event.
Yeah, it's big, and it continues to be really well attended. As you can imagine, there are about a bazillion really exotic cars in Scottsdale, particularly in the winter before the auctions. So, yeah, we were in some pretty good company.
I love they were putting this sticker on, and the car has been in the U.S. pretty much since new.
It was, I believe, at least at the time, the only one that was brought in new.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And had to be federalized and all of that stuff. But it's
I saw the federalization paperwork when I was just going through it real quick this morning, just getting it organized for Blair to put in another beautiful binder for us, something new. I mean, every year we keep doing things a little better and a little better. I mean, I guess you probably would be better to speak to that as one of the receiving end.
Yeah, it's every year there's been steady progress. We were just, when we did an earlier test drive, we drove by your original shop.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
That was fun because that was where we first met. Was at that shop, and I think I know I had my first BMW, which was a Z3M Coupe.
Yeah, I remember that. We traded.
Sold it for us.
Yeah, we traded that in towards. What did we trade that for?
For the Lime Rock, I think.
The Lime Rock, that's right. And
yeah,
then,
or one of the M5s.
And then we went after the. So the first was the Lime Rock, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And then we went to the. Went to the Imola Red first, right?
There was a white. Alpine white M5 that we had that was a higher mileage car.
Okay, that's right.
And we swapped that in for the Imola to go to Arizona because we liked the fact that that one had seats that would fold down, which made it a little more useful for hauling boxes and stuff.
Well, it's important to note that had caramel interior too.
And,
has.
And it's gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. It's my wife's favorite car to drive.
Lovely.
Although we have its twin in Alpine White now here in Ohio, because she just can't be without it for very long.
So we've got Alpine Caramel and Imola Caramel at one at each location. I mean, it doesn't. Clearly a driving enthusiast, just as I noted this family, and I mean even your spouse's father. He's how old now?
He's coming up 92,
and he's still driving stick.
Drives a 6-speed manual, I think it's Zenobarat.
Yep.
Wagon.
Yep. That's and he
2011 328 wagon.
That's right. Yeah. Doesn't he have like a weekly lunch thing?
Yep. Yeah. It gets out. I get to see it regularly, which is great.
And he's taking all the ladies out for lunch, I think. Is he still doing that?
Oh yeah. He's got a girlfriend, bless his heart.
Well, that's what it's all about. You got to live life and driving the car and enjoying it.
You might as well enjoy it.
And that's really what is probably one of the best parts about the hobby, certainly for me, and learning from others. I mean, your family is certainly a great role model of how to take great care of cars, but also enjoy them and use them. I mean, you've done some road rallies with this car, I think, over the years.
Yep, we've done a couple of local events here. We drove it after it came back to Ohio. We drove it out to the Vintage, and that must have been 17. The sticker's on there somewhere in the collection in the trunk. And I remember that as being a really hot event, and I also remember the AC working really well. So that was was a pleasure. But Beth and I switched off driving. We went straight through to Asheville and had a very good time and got to do some of their driving events.
I don't think we've ever really had any big or even moderate issues or mechanical needs over the time, have we?
No, not really. The oil temperature sender came loose from its the wire came loose from its tap.
Yeah, the drain plug, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and got plugged back in and
Yeah.
works fine.
Yeah.
Other than that, no, just oil changes and routine maintenance. It's tight as a drum.
Yeah. I drove it over from Super Secret Warehouse 1 when we met over there last week for our fun little run in the twisty roads, and AC was blowing cold, and the car. I will say the tires do offer a bit better performance than what I remember, and not a lot of people have driven an Alpina E28. I mean, it's similar to an E28 M5, but
Yeah.
it's got a little bit more suspension under it. It's got a little bit less body roll. I would say the gearbox feels pretty similar, maybe just a little bit. I guess the throw's probably about the same to me.
Pretty similar, and I think the clutch is the same.
Yeah.
But one thing I remember, now that you jogged my memory, is Mike was able to source what is perhaps the last pair of original Alpina front struts for this car.
Oh yeah, right.
It has the Alpina valved Bilsteins at the back, but it was on some other front struts.
Wasn't there something about the shift knob too?
Oh, that's right.
That's what I thought you were going with that.
It came with kind of a generic shift knob, and between he and I and chasing back and forth, we found out that they had just started to reproduce the old original shift knob, and so I glommed onto one of those. Just a couple of other detail things. The horn knob in the center of the steering wheel needed to be replaced with fresh, correct one. But the car was 99.9% to begin with, and it's been a pleasure to take care of.
It's an original car. I mean, all of the headliners do that little bit there in the corner where the adhesive starts to kind of bleed through, and it's had a little bit of sun on the rear seats over the years. You can see them just starting to fade out, probably from doing all the different car shows and Concours events. But I mean, that's the honesty of this car. Is it perfect? No, but I mean, most people probably would say that it is perfect. I mean, there's very few flaws with the car.
It's perfect if you want to use it. So many of the Alpina specific parts are kind of hard to come by. I've had as much comment about the little tags on the driver's and passenger's seat back being intact, because that's apparently something that breaks with monotonous regularity, and nobody, to the best of my knowledge, has reproduced them. But Harold, bless his heart, when he had the car, was able to find the last of them and get them installed. So,
well, it's important to note, I've not washed this car. It was dusty from the guys mowing the yard when we were at Warehouse 1. I've done no detailing on the car. This is just how you've always kept it.
Yep. Well, it's nice when it doesn't have to be a bad weather driver. It's good. We have garages all over the place, so it lives a pretty comfortable life.
I mean, I even noted all of these are still in place, albeit this one's cracked, I see, so we'll be replacing the door catch. I did find one that we were just talking about.
Did
this.
You?
Yeah, see? So we got to change those on his M6. They were still original. So, just those little details are things that you learn over the years, and the car's going to go through the full EAG Reju program a third time, excuse me. Open checkbook. We might spend $3,000, we might spend 10, who knows? And it doesn't really matter, because if it needs it, if it's going to make the car better, we're going to do it so that the next owner can have just as good of an ownership experience as you have. That's the point.
And don't you love the way those doors sound when you close them?
That is definitely one of my favorite things with the Alpinas. So I am going to jump in this car, get the AC going. It's hot out here in Cincinnati today. This car is probably not going to hit our website. We're going to just maybe let the YouTube channel do its thing. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for taking great care of the car. Thanks for being a great friend over the years.
Well, we always knew it was going to come back to you sooner or later.
Well, that's thank you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So we are going to get working on Kent's M6. If you're interested in number 436, the Alpina B9, This is a fantastic car that, as Kent said, you can use, drive, and enjoy. It's not going to be super cheap. It's 6 figures, but it's not going to have too much more sticker shock. So do reach out. We'll go over all those details with you. I'm going to enjoy this drive, and maybe we'll take somebody along for a ride when they show up for their EAG experience. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe for more. Hit that like button. See ya.